Chapter 1. The calm before the storm. The first week of January had a peculiar stillness, like the world collectively exhaled after the chaos of December. Adam Thompson sat at the kitchen table of their apartment, nursing a mug of coffee that had gone lukewarm while he scrolled through a spreadsheet titled Wedding Budget, Final Draft. Maybe. The title was Helen's idea, her way of injecting humor into the stress of planning a wedding. He smiled faintly at the memory of her laughing about it, her hair tied up in a messy bun, flour on her cheek from baking cookies for the neighbors. That was Helen. Warm, thoughtful, and effortlessly charming. At least, that's who she had always been. The holidays had been a whirlwind. 2 families, 3 states, and enough small talk to last a lifetime. Adam had played the role of dutiful fiancé, shaking hands, hugging relatives, and answering the same question 100 times. So, when's the big day? By New Year's Eve, he and Helen were so exhausted they barely made it to midnight before collapsing on the couch, champagne glasses untouched. Now, with the holiday haze behind them, January felt like a clean slate. Helen was humming in the living room, flipping through a bridal magazine, her voice carrying softly over the sound of the heater. Adam glanced at her, still in pajamas, hair cascading over her shoulders, and felt that familiar warmth in his chest. For years together, 9 months engaged. He had proposed because he believed in them, believed in the quiet solidity of what they had built. No drama, no games, just 2 people who fit. He closed the laptop and leaned back, stretching his arms. So, he said, breaking the comfortable silence, are we ready to dive back into wedding mode? Helen looked up, her eyes bright. Absolutely. I've got a list. She waved the magazine like a victory flag. Florist, photographer, cake tasting. Oh, and we need to finalize the guest list. Adam groaned theatrically. The guest list. My personal nemesis. Helen laughed, that melodic sound that had hooked him years ago. Come on, it's not that bad. It's worse, he countered. Every time we cut someone, they magically reappear like a horror movie villain. She grinned. Well, maybe if you stopped inviting people you barely know. They're work friends, he protested. There's a difference. Helen rolled her eyes, but her smile lingered. Moments like this, light, teasing, easy, were what Adam loved most. They had weathered 4 years without a single major fight. Sure, they disagreed sometimes, but never about anything that mattered. That was why he had been so sure when he bought the ring. Helen wasn't just his girlfriend. She was his partner, his person. As they spent the next hour debating flower arrangements and seating charts, Adam felt a flicker of optimism. The fall wedding was months away, but he could already picture it. Helen walking down the aisle, sunlight catching the lace of her dress, that smile reserved just for him. It was a comforting vision, one he clung to as the conversation shifted to honeymoon destinations and playlists. By late afternoon, the apartment smelled of coffee and candle wax, and Adam was sprawled on the couch, scrolling through honeymoon packages on his phone. Helen perched beside him, her legs tucked under a blanket, hair spilling over his shoulder as she leaned in to look at the screen. Bali looks amazing, she said, pointing. Beach, spa, cocktails. Sold, Adam replied. As long as there's Wi-Fi. Helen laughed. You're hopeless. He grinned, but inside, a quiet thought surfaced, one he didn't voice. This is what I want. Simple, solid, no surprises. He wasn't a man who thrived on chaos. He liked knowing where he stood, liked the certainty of mutual respect. It wasn't about control. It was about trust. And trust, to Adam, was non-negotiable. As evening settled in, they ordered takeout and curled up on the couch, watching a rom-com that Helen had picked. She laughed at all the right moments, quoting lines she'd memorized years ago, and Adam found himself laughing too, even when the jokes were predictable. For a while, everything felt perfect, ordinary, but perfect. He didn't know then that this quiet January night would be the last time he felt that way about Helen. That beneath the surface of their easy laughter, a fault line was waiting. And when it cracked, it wouldn't just shake their plans. It would shatter everything he thought he knew about love, loyalty, and the woman sitting beside him. Chapter 2. The spark of doubt. February arrived with a deceptive calm. The snow outside had melted into slush, and the city wore that gray, half-hearted winter look that made everyone crave spring. Adam didn't mind. He liked the quiet months, the ones where life slowed down enough for him to think. But lately, his thoughts had been circling the wedding like vultures. Not because he didn't want it, he did, but because every decision seemed to come with a price tag and a debate. Helen was perched on the arm of the couch, scrolling through her phone with the kind of focus usually reserved for bomb defusal. Adam was at the dining table, laptop open, comparing quotes for photographers. He was halfway through an email draft when Helen spoke, her tone casual, almost too casual. So, she said without looking up, the girls and I are planning a trip to Miami for my bachelorette. Adam froze mid-keystroke. The words landed like a pebble in a still pond, rippling outward. He turned slowly, studying her face. She was smiling faintly, thumbs tapping her screen, oblivious to the storm brewing in his chest. Miami? He repeated, voice even. Yeah. She glanced up, bright-eyed, as if announcing a surprise party. Just a long weekend, son? Beach cocktails. You know, fun stuff. Adam closed the laptop gently, like he was afraid of breaking something. Helen, we talked about this. Her smile faltered. Talked about what? Bachelor and bachelorette parties, he said, keeping his tone calm. We agreed no crazy trips. No Vegas, no Miami. Remember? Helen waved a hand, dismissive. Come on, Adam. It's not a big deal. It is to me, he said quietly. She blinked, then laughed. A short, incredulous sound. Seriously? You're not going to start being insecure about this, are you? The word hit him like a slap. Insecure. He felt his jaw tighten, but he didn't raise his voice. He never did. Helen, he said, measured. I'm not insecure. I'm telling you what I'm comfortable with. She sighed, setting her phone down. Adam, it's just a trip. You trust me, don't you? I do, he said. But trust isn't the issue. Boundaries are. Her brows knitted. Boundaries? Adam, you don't own me. You can't tell me what to do. There it was, the shift. He saw it in her eyes, the flicker of defiance, the edge of contempt. And in that moment, something inside him went still. He wasn't angry. He wasn't hurt. He was done. He stood slowly, every movement deliberate. Helen watched him, confusion replacing irritation. What are you doing? Adam looked at her for a long moment, memorizing the curve of her cheek, the way her hair fell over her shoulder. He thought of the years they'd shared, the laughter, the plans. Then he thought of his grandfather's words. If they don't respect you, they can't love you back. I'm canceling the wedding, he said calmly. And you need to move out. Her mouth fell open. What? Adam, what are you talking about? I told you my boundaries, he said, voice steady. You agreed to them when you accepted my ring. Now you want to change the rules because you think I'm locked in. I'm just letting you know. They're not optional. Helen stared at him, stunned. You're seriously ending this over a trip? Adam shrugged lightly. It's not about the trip. It's about what the trip means. She shook her head, eyes wide. This is insane. You're supposed to be a little mad. Not this. He didn't answer. He picked up his jacket, slid his arms through the sleeves, and walked to the door. Helen's voice followed him, sharp and desperate. Adam, don't do this. We can talk about it. He paused at the door, hand on the knob, and looked back one last time. I've said everything I need to say. Then he stepped out, closing the door behind him with a soft click that sounded louder than any slam. Adam walked down the hallway, his footsteps echoing in the silence. He felt strangely calm, like a man who had been holding his breath for years and finally exhaled. It wasn't relief, not yet, but it was clarity. And clarity, he knew, was the beginning of freedom. Chapter 3, Fallout and Frenzy. Adam didn't slam the door. He didn't storm out. He simply walked away, and somehow that made it worse. Helen's voice echoed behind him, sharp and pleading, but he didn't turn back. By the time he reached the street, the cold February air hit his face like a wake-up call. He zipped his jacket and kept walking, his phone buzzing in his pocket like an angry hornet. He ignored it. By the time he reached his car, the buzzing had turned into a full-blown symphony. Calls, texts, notifications stacking up like bricks. He slid into the driver's seat, exhaled slowly, and stared at the steering wheel. His hands weren't shaking. His pulse wasn't racing. He felt calm. Too calm, maybe, like a man who had just detonated a bomb and was waiting for the dust to settle. The phone buzzed again. He glanced at the screen. Helen. Adam, please, let's talk. I didn't mean it like that. Buzz. Helen, you're overreacting. It's just a trip. We can compromise. Buzz. Helen. Don't throw away 4 years over something stupid. Adam locked the phone and tossed it onto the passenger seat. He wasn't angry, not in the way Helen expected. He wasn't even sad. He was resolute, and that scared him a little because it meant there was no going back. He drove across town to a familiar apartment building, the kind with peeling paint and a perpetually broken elevator. His best friend, Ryan, lived on the 3rd floor, a man whose life philosophy could be summed up in 3 words: chaos is fun. Adam wasn't sure if Ryan was the right person for this conversation, but he needed someone who wasn't Helen blowing up his phone. Ryan opened the door wearing pajama pants and a t-shirt that said sarcasm loading. Please wait. He took one look at Adam and raised an eyebrow. Whoa, you look like someone just canceled Christmas. Adam stepped inside. I canceled a wedding. Ryan blinked. Come again. I broke up with Helen. Ryan stared for a beat, then let out a low whistle. Dude, that's wow. Okay, sit. Start talking. Adam sank into the couch, rubbing his temples. She's planning a bachelorette trip to Miami. Ryan grinned. And we agreed years ago, no crazy parties. No Vegas, no Miami. I reminded her. She said I was being insecure. Ryan winced. Ouch. Then she hit me with the "you don't own me" line. Ryan leaned back, hands behind his head. Classic. Adam shot him a look. Classic. Yeah, classic. I'm about to do something shady, and I need you to feel bad for objecting. Adam sighed. Exactly. Ryan studied him for a moment. So you just ended it? Like that? Adam nodded. Like that. Ryan let out a laugh, half disbelief, half admiration. Man, you don't mess around. I'm not going to beg someone to respect me, Adam said quietly. If she can't, then what's the point? Ryan raised his beer in salute. Fair enough. But, what now? Adam shrugged. No idea. By the time Adam checked his phone again, Helen had escalated from texts to voicemails. He played one just to see. Adam, please. I didn't mean it like that. You're blowing this out of proportion. We can fix this. Just call me. He deleted it. Another voicemail popped up immediately. Okay, if you're going to ignore me, at least tell me what to do about the apartment. I can't just delete. Ryan watched him with mild amusement. You know she's going to show up here eventually, right? Adam groaned. Don't remind me. Ryan grinned. Hey, silver lining, you're single now. We can finally get you on those dating apps. Adam shot him a look that could curdle milk. Absolutely not. Come on, Ryan said, grabbing his phone. It's 2025. Nobody meets in coffee shops anymore. It's all algorithms and awkward bios. Adam muttered. Sounds like hell. Ryan smirked. Hell with options. Later that night, after Ryan fell asleep mid-Netflix binge, Adam sat on the balcony, staring at the city lights. His phone was silent now. Either Helen had given up or was plotting something dramatic. He didn't know which was worse. He thought about the last 4 years, about the laughter and the plans and the quiet certainty he'd felt. He thought about how quickly certainty could turn into illusion. And he thought about his grandfather's words again, the ones that had guided him tonight. Respect isn't optional. Adam wasn't sure what came next. He wasn't ready to think about it. For now, all he wanted was air in his lungs and space in his head. Tomorrow, he'd figure out the rest. Chapter 4. The Single Life Reboot. Adam woke up the next morning to the sound of Ryan snoring like a chainsaw. For a moment, he forgot where he was. Then the events of last night came rushing back. The conversation, the door closing, the silence that followed. He sat up slowly, rubbing his face. His phone was on the coffee table, dark and ominous, like a grenade waiting to go off. He picked it up. 47 unread messages, 12 missed calls, 3 voicemails, all from Helen. Adam stared at the screen for a long moment, then set the phone down without unlocking it. He wasn't ready for that storm. Not yet. Ryan shuffled out of the bedroom wearing the same pajama pants and a grin that spelled trouble. Morning, heartbreak, he said cheerfully. Coffee? Adam groaned. Please. Ryan handed him a mug and flopped onto the couch. So, big question, what's the plan? Plan for what? For your life, man. You're single now. Free. Untethered. A majestic eagle soaring through the skies of opportunity. Adam gave him a flat look. I feel more like a pigeon in traffic. Ryan smirked. That's because you haven't embraced the apps yet. Adam frowned. Apps. Dating apps, Ryan said, as if explaining oxygen. It's 2025. Nobody meets in bookstores anymore. It's all algorithms and awkward bios. Adam shook his head. No way. Ryan grinned. Way. He grabbed Adam's phone before he could protest. First step, profile pic. Do you have anywhere you're not scowling like Batman? Adam sighed. Ryan. Relax, Ryan said, scrolling through Adam's gallery. Okay, this one's good. You're smiling. You look approachable. Like a guy who won't cancel a wedding over a beach trip. Adam shot him a glare. Too soon. Ryan chuckled. Fine, fine. Bio time. Loves dogs. Hates drama. Enjoys long walks to the fridge. Perfect. Adam groaned. You're enjoying this way too much. Ryan grinned. You'll thank me when you're drowning in matches. By noon, Adam had a profile. By 1, he had regrets. The first match opened with, Hey handsome, wanna see my tattoo collection? The second, do you believe in soulmates or should I keep swiping? The third sent a photo of a cat wearing sunglasses and nothing else. Adam stared at the screen, horrified. This is a nightmare. Ryan laughed so hard he nearly spilled his coffee. Welcome to modern romance, buddy. Adam deleted the app by 2 o'clock. That evening, Adam made the mistake of checking social media. Helen's latest post was a photo of her and 3 girlfriends clinking champagne glasses. Captioned, Miami countdown begins. Hashtag girls trip, hashtag no regrets. Adam stared at the screen, jaw tightening. No regrets. The words felt like a deliberate jab, though maybe that was just his pride talking. He locked his phone and tossed it aside, resisting the urge to scroll further. Ryan peeked over his shoulder. Ouch. She's leaning into the villain arc. Adam muttered. She can have it. Ryan grinned. Good. Because you're coming with me tonight. Adam frowned. Where? New Year-themed singles mixer, Ryan announced. It's February, but they're calling it New Year, New Connections. Cheesy as hell, but hey, free drinks. Adam groaned. Ryan, no arguments, Ryan said, grabbing his jacket. You need to get out of your head. And your ex's Instagram. The venue was a trendy rooftop bar with fairy lights strung across the ceiling and a DJ playing remixes of songs Adam vaguely recognized. The crowd was a mix of hopeful smiles and nervous laughter. Everyone clutching cocktails like life rafts. Adam stood near the bar, nursing a whiskey and wondering how he'd let Ryan talk him into this. He was scanning the room for the nearest exit when someone bumped his shoulder. "Sorry," a voice said, warm, lilting, amused. Adam turned and froze. She was striking. Not in the overdone Instagram filter way, but in the kind of way that made you look twice. Dark hair swept into a loose bun, sharp green eyes that seemed to sparkle with mischief. She wore a simple black dress and an expression that said she was both bored and entertained by the whole scene. "No problem," Adam managed. She smiled faintly. "You look like you'd rather be anywhere else." Adam chuckled. "Is it that obvious?" "Painfully," she said, sipping her drink. "Blind date? Or did someone drag you here?" "Dragged," Adam admitted. "Best friend's idea." She grinned. "Figures. You don't have the desperate energy." Adam raised an eyebrow. "Desperate energy? You know," she said, gesturing toward a man across the room who was laughing too loudly at his own joke. "That." Adam laughed, really laughed, for the first time in days. "Fair point." She extended a hand. "Sophie." "Adam," he said, shaking it. Her grip was firm, her smile easy. And just like that, something shifted. A spark, subtle but undeniable. As they fell into conversation, banter sharp, laughter effortless. Adam felt something he hadn't felt in weeks. Possibility. Not certainty, not yet, but possibility. And for now, that was enough. Chapter 5. Complications and Coffee. Adam hadn't planned on seeing Sophie again so soon. He figured the mixer was a one-off, a pleasant surprise in an otherwise chaotic week. But 2 days later, his phone buzzed with a message that made him smile before he even opened it. "Sophie, so, did you survive the singles mixer trauma? Or are you in therapy now?" Adam chuckled, leaning against the kitchen counter. He typed back, "Adam, no therapy yet. But I did delete the dating app my friend forced on me. That counts as self-care, right?" Her reply was instant. "Sophie, absolutely. Apps are where hope goes to die. Coffee, though, that's where hope lives. Interested?" Adam stared at the screen for a beat, then grinned. "Adam, coffee sounds like hope. When and where?" They met at a cozy cafe tucked between a bookstore and a florist, a place that smelled like roasted beans and fresh paper. Sophie was already there, perched at a corner table with a laptop open and a half-empty latte beside her. She looked up as Adam approached, her smile easy, her eyes bright. "You're punctual," she said, closing the laptop. "I like that." Adam shrugged, sliding into the seat across from her. "Figured being late would ruin my chances of proving I'm not a dating app cliché." Sophie laughed. "Fair point. So, tell me, what's your worst app experience so far?" Adam groaned. "Do we have to?" "Yes," she said, grinning. "It's a bonding exercise." He sighed. "Fine. First match asked if I wanted to see her tattoo collection. Second asked if I believed in soulmates or should she keep swiping. Third sent me a picture of a cat wearing sunglasses." Sophie burst out laughing, nearly spilling her coffee. "Okay, the cat one is iconic. You should have married her." Adam smirked. "I deleted the app before she could propose." Their banter flowed effortlessly, punctuated by laughter and the occasional sarcastic jab. Adam found himself relaxing in a way he hadn't in weeks. Sophie was sharp, funny, and refreshingly real. No pretenses, no games. Just conversation that felt easy. They were halfway through their second round of coffee when Adam's phone buzzed. He ignored it at first, but when it buzzed again, and again he glanced at the screen. "Helen." He locked the phone quickly, but Sophie noticed. "Persistent ex?" she asked lightly, sipping her latte. Adam hesitated. "Something like that." She raised an eyebrow. "Want to talk about it?" "Not really," he admitted. "But, yeah, we were engaged." Sophie blinked, then nodded slowly. "Wow, that's recent." "Very," Adam said. "Like, last week recent." She studied him for a moment, then smiled faintly. "Well, that explains the singles mixer trauma." Adam chuckled, but inside, a knot tightened. Helen wasn't just texting now, she was calling. And he had a sinking feeling this wasn't going to stop. Later that night, after walking Sophie to her car and promising to text her, Adam checked his phone. Helen's latest message read, "Adam, please, I just need closure. Can we meet? Just talk. 1 hour. That's all I'm asking." Adam stared at the screen, torn. Part of him wanted to ignore it, to let silence speak for him. But another part, the part that hated loose ends, hesitated. Ryan, of course, had opinions. "Closure is code for drama," he said when Adam told him. "Don't do it." Adam sighed. "Maybe she just wants to understand." Ryan snorted. "She understood when you walked out. Trust me. This is a trap." Adam wasn't sure. But he knew one thing. If he agreed to meet Helen, it could complicate everything, especially now that Sophie was in the picture. Before bed, Adam sent Sophie a message. "Adam, had a great time today. Coffee, dating apps. Definitely." Her reply came minutes later. "Sophie, agreed. Next time, maybe dinner? Unless you're still traumatized by mixers." Adam smiled at the screen, feeling that spark again, the one that made the chaos worth it. Tomorrow, he'd figure out what to do about Helen. Tonight, he let himself think about Sophie. Chapter 6, Complications and Coffee, Part 2. Adam had always considered himself a man of simple routines. Coffee in the morning, gym 3 times a week, and a predictable work schedule. But lately, his life felt like a sitcom written by someone who loved chaos. Exhibit A. His phone buzzing at 7 a.m. with 2 very different messages. Sophie. Dinner tonight? I promise no mixers, just good food and sarcasm. Helen. Adam, please. 1 hour. Just talk. I need closure. Adam stared at the screen, groaning softly. He wanted to text Sophie back immediately. Yes, dinner, absolutely. But Helen's message sat there like a landmine. Ignoring it felt easy. Too easy. And Adam wasn't wired for easy when it came to endings. Ryan, of course, had opinions. Delete it, he said when Adam showed him the messages over breakfast. Block her. Change your number. Move to Canada. Adam frowned. That seems extreme. Ryan shrugged. So is meeting your ex for closure. That's like volunteering for emotional waterboarding. Adam sighed. I just don't want bad blood. Ryan smirked. Buddy, the blood is already bad. It's practically spoiled milk. Adam chuckled despite himself. You're terrible at metaphors. And you're terrible at boundaries. Ryan shot back. Dinner with Sophie is the move. Helen is the trap. Adam knew he was right. Mostly. But something in him still hesitated. By noon, Adam had confirmed dinner with Sophie. She picked a little Italian place downtown. Warm lighting, brick walls, the kind of spot that whispered intimacy without screaming date night clichés. Adam felt a flicker of excitement he hadn't felt in months. Then, at 2 o'clock, Helen called. Again. He let it go to voicemail. 10 minutes later, another text popped up. I'm in your neighborhood. Can we talk? Just 5 minutes. Adam swore under his breath. He typed back, Adam, not a good time, Helen. Please respect that. Her reply was instant. I just need to understand. Please. Adam stared at the screen, jaw tight. He didn't answer. He couldn't, not now. Tonight was about moving forward, not reopening wounds. By 7, Adam was at the restaurant, nerves humming like static. Sophie arrived 5 minutes later, looking effortlessly chic in a navy dress and boots. Her smile was warm, her eyes bright, and Adam felt the tension in his shoulders ease. Hey, she said, sliding into the booth. You look less traumatized than last time. Adam grinned. Progress. They ordered wine and pasta, conversation flowing like it had at the cafe. Easy, teasing, punctuated by laughter. Sophie had a way of making even mundane topics feel interesting. She told him about her job as an event planner, her love-hate relationship with Pinterest boards, and her theory that rom-coms have ruined modern dating. Think about it, she said, twirling spaghetti. Every movie ends with some grand gesture. Nobody shows the awkward first date where you spill wine on your shirt. Adam chuckled. So you're saying real life needs more spilled wine? Exactly, she said, grinning. Keeps us humble. Adam was about to reply when his phone buzzed. He ignored it. Then it buzzed again. And again. Sophie raised an eyebrow. Persistent friend? Adam hesitated. Ex. Her expression softened. Ah, he sighed. She wants to meet. Closure. Sophie nodded slowly. And you? I want dinner, he said honestly. With you. Her smile returned, warm and amused. Good answer. They were halfway through dessert when Adam's phone buzzed again. This time with a message that made his stomach drop. I'm outside. Adam froze. Sophie noticed immediately. What? He turned the phone so she could see. Her brows shot up. Wow, that's bold, Adam muttered. She's not supposed to be here. Sophie leaned back, eyes sparkling with mischief. Well, this just got interesting. Before Adam could respond, the restaurant door opened, and there was Helen, scanning the room like a heat-seeking missile. Adam swore under his breath. Sophie bit back a laugh. Do all your exes come with hurricane warnings? Adam groaned. Just this one. Helen spotted him and started toward the table, her heels clicking like gunfire. Adam stood quickly, intercepting her before she reached Sophie. Helen, he said, voice low. This isn't the time. She crossed her arms, eyes flashing. You wouldn't answer me. What was I supposed to do? Not this, Adam said firmly. Please, go home. Helen glanced past him at Sophie, her expression tightening. So this is why you won't talk to me. Adam exhaled slowly. Helen, Sophie, bless her, stayed calm. She sipped her wine and said lightly, Hi, I'm Sophie. Not here for drama. Just the tiramisu. Helen's jaw clenched. Adam felt the weight of 100 possible disasters pressing down on him. He had 2 choices. Let this spiral into a public scene or find a way to defuse it without blowing up his evening, or his chances with Sophie. And for the first time in days, Adam wished life came with a pause button. Chapter 7, The Miami Twist. Adam had never been good at juggling. He could barely manage 2 grocery bags without dropping something. So handling 2 women, one furious, one amused, in the same Italian restaurant felt like a cruel cosmic joke. Helen stood in front of him, arms crossed, eyes blazing. Sophie sat behind him, calm as a cat. Sipping her wine like this was premium entertainment. The waiter hovered nearby, pretending to rearrange breadsticks while clearly eavesdropping. "Helen," Adam said, voice low and steady. "You need to leave." "I'm not leaving," she snapped. "Not until you explain why you're throwing away 4 years for." Her eyes flicked to Sophie. "This." Adam closed his eyes briefly, inhaling through his nose. "This isn't about Sophie. It's about us. And the fact that we're done." Helen's laugh was sharp, brittle. "Done? Over a trip? That's insane." Adam shook his head. "It's not about the trip. It's about respect. About boundaries." Helen's jaw tightened. "Boundaries? You're acting like I cheated." "You didn't," Adam said evenly. "But you made it clear you were willing to ignore what mattered to me. That's enough." Helen opened her mouth, but Sophie's voice cut in, smooth, amused, and devastatingly calm. "Look," Sophie said, setting down her glass. "I don't know the history here, and honestly, I don't want to. But maybe this isn't the best place for whatever this is." Helen turned on her, eyes narrowing. "You think I'm just going to walk away?" Sophie smiled faintly. "No, I think you're going to make a scene. Which is great for me because I love drama. When it's on Netflix." Adam almost choked on air. Helen's face flushed crimson. "Unbelievable," Helen hissed, grabbing her purse. "You'll regret this, Adam." He didn't answer. He just watched her storm out, heels clicking like gunfire, leaving behind a trail of tension and perfume. Adam sat down slowly, exhaling like he'd just run a marathon. Sophie raised an eyebrow, her expression equal parts amused and curious. "So," she said lightly, "that was something." Adam groaned. "I'm so sorry." "Don't be," Sophie said, smiling. "Honestly, I was impressed. You stayed calm. Most guys would have turned into a puddle." Adam chuckled weakly. "I felt like a puddle." Sophie grinned. "Well, you didn't look like one. And hey, at least now I know you're not boring." Adam laughed, tension easing. "Glad I could provide entertainment." "Anytime," she said, lifting her glass. "To awkward dinners." He clinked his glass against hers, silently grateful for her humor. It was the lifeline he needed tonight. Later that night, back at Ryan's apartment, Adam collapsed onto the couch, phone buzzing like a hive. He ignored Helen's texts until one caught his eye. A photo. Helen on a beach, cocktail in hand, surrounded by her girlfriends in bikinis. Caption: "Miami vibes. Hashtag girls trip. Hashtag living my best life." Adam stared at the screen, jaw tightening. So she went anyway. After all the drama, all the pleas for closure, she was in Miami, smiling like nothing happened. Ryan peeked over his shoulder and whistled. "Wow, she didn't waste time." Adam muttered, "No regrets, remember?" Ryan grinned. "Silver lining, you dodged a reality show." Adam tossed the phone aside, sinking deeper into the couch. He felt a strange mix of relief and disbelief. Relief because his instincts had been right. Disbelief because Helen had turned their breakup into a hashtag. His phone buzzed again, this time with a message that made him smile. "Sophie, hope you survived Hurricane Helen. If you need a laugh, I found a cat meme that beats your dating app nightmare." Adam chuckled, typing back, "Adam, send it. I could use a laugh." Her reply came with a photo of a cat wearing a tiny sombrero and sunglasses, captioned, "Living my best life." Adam laughed out loud, tension melting away. For the first time in days, he felt something close to peace, and maybe, just maybe, the start of something better. Chapter 8. Sparks Fly. Adam had never been a fan of Mondays, but this one felt different. He woke up with a strange sense of anticipation. Not dread, not stress, just possibility. Sophie had agreed to dinner again, and this time it wasn't just casual. Felt like something was shifting, something real. They met at a quiet wine bar tucked away on a side street, the kind of place where conversations linger and laughter feels private. Sophie was already there, perched at a corner table, scrolling through her phone with a faint smile. When she looked up and saw him, her expression brightened in a way that made Adam's chest tighten. "You're early," she teased as he slid into the seat across from her. "Trying to make up for the last dinner," Adam said, grinning. "You know, the one that turned into a soap opera." Sophie laughed, eyes sparkling. "Honestly, I'm still impressed you didn't flip the table." Adam chuckled. "I considered it." They ordered wine and tapas, conversation flowing as easily as the last time. Sophie had a way of making him forget the noise, the texts, the drama, the lingering questions. With her, everything felt lighter, sharper, alive. Halfway through the evening, Sophie leaned back, studying him with a curious tilt of her head. "So," she said softly, "what really happened?" "With Helen." Adam hesitated. He could deflect, joke, change the subject, but something in her gaze told him she wasn't asking for gossip. She was asking for honesty. He exhaled slowly. "We were together for 4 years, engaged for 9 months. I thought we were solid. But when the wedding planning started, things changed." Sophie nodded, waiting. She wanted a bachelorette trip to Miami, Adam continued. We talked about this before. Agreed we wouldn't do the crazy party thing. It wasn't about control. It was about trust, boundaries. And when I reminded her, she called me insecure. Sophie's brows lifted slightly. Ouch. Yeah, Adam said quietly. It wasn't the trip. It was what it meant. That she didn't care about what mattered to me. That she'd rather gaslight me than talk about it. Sophie was silent for a moment, then said softly, Sounds like you made the right call. Adam met her eyes. I hope so. She smiled faintly. You did. The heaviness lingered for a beat, then Sophie grinned. So, just to be clear, if I ever plan a trip, it won't involve Miami? Adam laughed, tension breaking. Deal. No Miami. No hashtags. Good, she said, raising her glass. Because I'm more of a mountains and hot chocolate girl anyway. Adam clinked his glass against hers, feeling something warm settle in his chest. Not certainty, not yet, but trust. And maybe that was enough for now. Later that night, after walking Sophie to her car and watching her drive away, Adam checked his phone. No new messages from Helen. Just one from Sophie. Sophie, tonight was great. Next time, maybe you pick the place? Unless you're secretly a Miami fan. Adam smiled, typing back, Adam, definitely not a Miami fan. But I know a spot with the best hot chocolate in town. Her reply came seconds later. Sophie. Sold. Just promise no drama this time. Adam chuckled, slipping his phone into his pocket. For the first time in weeks, he felt like he was moving forward. Not running, not hiding, just living. Chapter 9. The unexpected reunion. Adam had been looking forward to a quiet morning. Just him, a cappuccino, and the comforting hum of his favorite cafe. A little corner spot with mismatched chairs and the smell of fresh pastries. He'd even left his phone on silent, determined to enjoy 30 uninterrupted minutes of peace. He was halfway through his first sip when the door swung open, and peace packed its bags. Helen walked in. Adam froze, cup halfway to his lips. She looked different. Not in the dramatic makeover sense, but sharper somehow. Hair perfectly styled, makeup flawless, confidence radiating like neon. And she was scanning the room with purpose. Please don't see me, Adam thought, which of course guaranteed she did. Her eyes locked on him. Her smile was tight, brittle, and then she was walking over, heels clicking like a countdown to disaster. Adam set his cup down slowly, bracing himself. Helen. Adam, she said, sliding into the chair across from him without asking. We need to talk. Adam exhaled. Helen, this isn't. Don't. She cut in, voice low but sharp. You've been ignoring me for weeks. I deserve an explanation. Adam kept his tone calm. I gave you one. The night I left. That wasn't an explanation, she snapped. That was an ultimatum. Adam shook his head. It was clarity. Helen leaned forward, eyes flashing. Clarity? You ended 4 years over a trip. A trip? Adam. Adam met her gaze evenly. It wasn't the trip. It was what it meant. Helen laughed, a short, bitter sound. You're unbelievable. Before Adam could respond, a familiar voice cut through the tension. Wow, Sophie said lightly, appearing at his side with a coffee in hand. This place really is popular. Adam's stomach dropped. Sophie, of course. Because the universe had a twisted sense of humor. Helen turned, eyes narrowing. You. Sophie smiled, calm as ever. Me. Adam stood quickly, trying to defuse the bomb before it detonated. Sophie, this is your ex-fiancée, Sophie finished smoothly. Yeah, I figured. Helen's jaw tightened. So this is why you won't talk to me. Adam sighed. Helen. Sophie held up a hand, her tone light but firm. Look, I'm not here for drama. I just came for coffee. But if this is going to turn into a scene, maybe we should take it outside. Helen bristled. You think you can just. Adam stepped in, voice steady. Helen, stop. This isn't fair to anyone. We're done. That hasn't changed. Helen stared at him, eyes bright with anger, and something else, hurt. For a moment, Adam almost felt it tug at him. Almost. Then she grabbed her purse, stood, and said coldly, You'll regret this. And just like that, she was gone. Heels clicking, door slamming, leaving behind a silence thick enough to choke on. Adam turned to Sophie, bracing for judgment. Instead, she was smiling faintly, sipping her coffee like nothing happened. Well, she said, that was dramatic. Adam groaned. I'm so sorry. Don't be, Sophie said, amused. Honestly, I'm impressed. You stayed calm. Most guys would have melted into a puddle. Adam chuckled weakly. I felt like a puddle. Sophie grinned. Well, you didn't look like one. And hey, at least now I know you're not boring. Adam laughed, tension easing. Glad I could provide entertainment. Anytime, she said, raising her cup. To awkward reunions. Adam clinked his cup against hers, silently grateful for her humor. It was the lifeline he needed. Later, as he walked Sophie to her car, Adam felt something settle inside him. A decision, firm and final. No more texts, no more calls, no more cracks for Helen to slip through. He wasn't looking back. Not anymore. Chapter 10. The leap. Adam had rehearsed the words in his head a dozen times. But now, standing outside Sophie's apartment with a bouquet of tulips in one hand and his heart pounding like a drum, every sentence he'd practiced evaporated. He wasn't nervous because he doubted her feelings. He was nervous because this mattered. More than anything had in a long time. He knocked lightly. A moment later, the door opened. And there she was, hair loose, wearing a soft gray sweater and jeans, looking effortlessly beautiful in that way Sophie always did. Her smile was warm, curious. "Adam," she said, "this is a surprise." He held up the flowers, sheepish. "Thought I'd try something old school." She laughed, stepping aside to let him in. Points for effort. He followed her into the cozy living room, heart thudding. She set the flowers in a vase, then turned to him, brows raised. "So, what's up?" Adam exhaled slowly. "I wanted to say something, and I didn't want to text it." Sophie tilted her head, waiting. "I like you," Adam said simply. "More than I expected. More than I thought I could. This soon." Her lips curved into a faint smile. "That's not a bad thing." "No," he said, shaking his head. "It's a good thing. But I needed you to know. I'm not looking for games. Or drama. Or hashtags. I'm looking for something real." Sophie studied him for a moment, her expression softening. "Adam, I know it's fast," he continued, words tumbling out now. "And I know I come with baggage. But when I'm with you it feels easy. Like breathing. And I don't want to lose that." For a beat, silence hung between them. Thick, charged, full of possibility. Then Sophie smiled, slow and bright. "You're not losing it." Adam blinked. "I'm not." "No," she said, stepping closer. "Because I like you too. And honestly, I was hoping you'd say that." Relief crashed over him like a wave, leaving him almost dizzy. He laughed soft, shaky, real. "Good. Because I was running out of ways to rehearse this." Sophie grinned. "You did fine." She reached for his hand, fingers warm against his. "Just promise me one thing." "Anything," he said. "No Miami trips," she teased. Adam laughed, pulling her gently into his arms. "Deal." It wasn't dramatic. No fireworks, no sweeping music. Just a kiss, soft, certain, full of everything words couldn't say. And for Adam, that was enough. More than enough. Hours later, Adam texted Ryan. "Adam." She said yes. "Ryan, to what? Marriage? Moving in? Buying a dog?" "Adam, dinner. Again. And maybe more." Ryan, "Progress. Proud of you, buddy. Also, dibs on being best man if you ever propose again." Adam, "Let's not get ahead of ourselves." Ryan, "Fair. But seriously, no Miami." Adam, "Never Miami." Adam smiled at the screen, feeling lighter than he had in months. For the first time since everything fell apart, he wasn't thinking about what he'd lost. He was thinking about what he'd found. And that, he realized, was the real beginning. Chapter 11. Meet the family. Adam had faced boardroom presentations, tight deadlines, and even Ryan's experimental chili without flinching. But meeting Sophie's family? That was a whole new level of pressure. They drove to her parents' house on a crisp Saturday afternoon. Sophie was calm, humming along to the radio. Adam, meanwhile, was mentally rehearsing polite small talk like it was a TED Talk. "Relax," Sophie said, glancing at him with a grin. "They're nice. A little quirky. But nice." "Define quirky," Adam muttered. "Dad collects antique typewriters," she said. "Mom runs a book club that's basically a wine club in disguise. And my brother, well, he's into conspiracy theories." Adam blinked. "Conspiracies. Don't mention the moon landing," Sophie warned. "Trust me." Dinner was lively. Sophie's dad insisted Adam try typing on a 1920s Underwood before dessert. Her mom poured wine like it was water and asked Adam if he believed in soulmates. Twice. Her brother cornered him with a theory about pigeons being government drones. Adam handled it all with grace, or at least without choking on his pasta. Sophie watched him with quiet amusement, squeezing his hand under the table when her brother launched into a rant about Area 51. Later, as they drove home, Sophie smiled. "You survived." "Barely," Adam said, grinning. "But I think your dad likes me." "He does," she said softly. "So do I." Adam felt warmth bloom in his chest. For the first time, the future didn't feel like a question mark. Felt like a plan. Chapter 12. Helen's last stand. Adam thought the drama was over. He was wrong. It happened on a Thursday at his office. He was heading out for lunch when Helen appeared in the lobby like a plot twist nobody asked for. She looked polished, poised, and determined. "Adam," she said, stepping into his path. "We need to talk." Adam sighed. "Helen, we've talked. It's over." She shook her head. "You're making a mistake. We had 4 years. You don't just throw that away." Adam kept his tone calm. "I didn't throw it away. I walked away when it stopped working." Helen's eyes flashed. "Because of one disagreement?" Adam shook his head. "Because of what that disagreement showed me." She stared at him, silent for a long moment. Then her voice softened. "I loved you." Adam met her gaze evenly. "I loved you too. But love without respect doesn't last. Helen's jaw tightened. You'll regret this. Adam smiled faintly. No, I won't. And with that, he walked past her. No anger, no drama, just closure. Real closure. That night, Adam told Ryan about the encounter. Ryan's response? Man, your life is like a rom-com with bonus boss fights. Adam laughed. At least the final boss is gone. Ryan grinned. Good. Now focus on the sequel with Sophie. Chapter 13. The epilogue. No Miami required. 6 months later. Adam stood on a balcony overlooking snow-capped mountains, a steaming mug of hot chocolate in hand. Sophie was beside him, wrapped in a blanket, cheeks pink from the cold. This, she said, smiling at the view, beats Miami. Adam chuckled. By a mile. They were on their first vacation together. A cozy cabin getaway, no hashtags, no drama. Just laughter, warmth, and the quiet certainty that they'd found something worth keeping. Sophie leaned her head on his shoulder. So, she teased, any grand gestures planned? Or are we skipping the rom-com ending? Adam smiled, kissing her hair. No grand gestures, just this. And for both of them, that was perfect. Because sometimes the best love stories aren't about fireworks. They're about finding someone who makes life feel simple, even when everything else is complicated.